Hello again, this is UML Operator. Okay, in this demonstration we are in the fourth iteration. We've made a lot of changes in this fourth iteration working with the team. Let's just look at a baseline. We're going to compare to this version right here, so show differences. It's going out. We basically made some changes to the order table. We made some changes to the cart item table. And one of those key changes is that we changed from the item cart ID to a SKU ID and made some revisions to the schema. And we made some other changes. We added some further requirements to define. So when you go in here, you can see now that a decision was made that we're going to stay with the billing ID, which is the customer ID in the OurCo company accounting system. We're going to make sure that that is not null and is populated following authentication or registration of the customer as they're building out an order. So the other thing is create date cannot be null, so we changed that to not null. Now payment can be, because we're allowing save cart, payment can be null in the beginning, and shipping ID, of course, can be null in the beginning. So as it goes through its flow, shipping ID is eventually applied to the order as it's going through. We made some other minor changes, and then we redeployed our schema into our SQL Server environment. And let's walk through that. But first, let's recap from our last session. In our last session, where we were in a third iteration, we further defined our schema for data management. We built scenarios so we could test and validate our concern. We built test cases, we versioned, and we deployed in our SQL Server. Okay, so let's rerun our DDL, and we're going to Develop tab. Under Data Modeling, we're going to select Generate DDL, and we're going to do all three tables. All right, let's accept where the output file is going to go. Go ahead and hit Generate, and let's hit View, and then let's browse it. So we've got our drop, key constraints, drop table, and when we create the tables, nothing changed except for, all right, perfect, bill ID, not null, create date, not null, very good. Shopping cart, no changes, double check, all right, good. And then these were the major changes where we basically dropped the primary key. There is no PK in this table. We're using the SKU ID, which is from the current product table, and that will be inserted as the customer selects products to be added to their cart. And then the rest of it, we should already understand, building out our data management or data dictionary. Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and deploy this in our SQL Server. Okay, so we've loaded our DDL SQL file into our SQL Server Studio, and let's go ahead and run this. So we're on our code demo database, run it at the top, hit execute, it ran successfully. Let's check. Primarily, I'm concerned about cart item. Let's look at the columns. There we go. SKU ID is loaded, not null, that's fine. Perfect for now. Order. Okay, not null. Billing data, there, those changes were taken. All right, we're looking pretty good. No changes to shopping cart. Those should all be the same there. So basically, when we did the drop table, we have no data, so no data. And what we're going to do is load our test data. So for our code database, let's load our test data, go to the top of the file, hit execute. Everything loaded perfectly. Let's double check. Card item, select. There we go. Order, select. There we go. Perfect. And then there we go. And we'll add a lot more test data as we proceed. All right, back over in our modeling environment, we can close this. We'll leave that open. We don't need day 3 or the third iteration open. So we're looking good here. Let's go to our fourth iteration, and we're going to hit Control-Alt-B. Let's run a new baseline. All right, so the last one was 02. This one's going to be 03. Date and time, no notes, that's fine. And we've now baselined and versioned our updates. So next I want to test our data throughput, and there's a couple of ways to do that. You could, of course, within your SQL Studio, write your SQL, execute it, and you've got your joins here. We're joining this, and we're getting order 1, order 2 with our test data, and we're doing the joins. You could do it that way, but I prefer to do this from the top down. Up to this point, we've been working from the bottom up, data to up the stack to the presentation layer. But I prefer to work in a UI, build out our UI testing environment, especially later on in the project for our client stakeholders. Okay, I'm over in Visual Studio, my IDE or Integrated Development Environment. And I must preface by stating this channel does not teach you how to code, how to develop. I don't think I'm the person to do that anyways. There's plenty of smart people that are out there to do that. However, I want to demonstrate various ways of taking your model-driven anything, your model-driven design, your model-driven development, and deploy it in various environments. So in this case, I'm using Entity Framework by Microsoft to do my database connectivity and bring it up into my IDE so I can work. My data models have been brought in, and you can see the model here within the IDE to do the work that we want to do. All we're doing in this exercise is we're going through and we're building out views to look at our tables individually. This is going to be ordering. This is shopping cart is right here. This is cart item. And then I want to do some other test views that allow us to accomplish testing and then to show our clients and the rest of the project stakeholders how we're progressing. Bring it all up into a cover page and we're able to expose these views. So let's just go ahead and run this up into our local host test environment. This can be deployed on our company web server or team web server so they're able to do this. So we can look at order table data. We're able to look at shopping cart, what the data is going to look like, cart items, the test data that we've got loaded, and then we can go into a join view where we're connecting the order table with the shopping cart table, with the cart item table, and we can see order 1 and order 2, cart 1, cart 2, and the products that are in those. And then we're able to look how we're going to parse these views up into our UI as we're building out. So this is cart 1, this is cart 2, so we can slice and dice our views. And as we bring in other test data, we're able to do more comprehensive testing. All right, now we're back over in our modeling environment, and we're able to sync with our IDE repository our code. So in this particular case, I want to sync with any development that we had just done. So I go to develop, I go to files, import source files. This is where the repo is located. You can look at how I've got this configured. Never want to delete, want to synchronize existing class elements as we're building out. Just going to go ahead and select OK. It's going through and syncing with the repository. It is complete. Go ahead and close. And we're able to look at the code that's in our development repository via Sparx Enterprise Architect. And we can continue to make code changes within Sparx, or we can do it within our integrated development environment. All right, we're going to start wrapping up here. What I've been showing you is that in this very simple demonstration of around 3 tables, you're able to work up and down the stack. So from the bottom up or from the top down. So right now we've just stepped through how we can integrate with our IDE, our development environment. Eventually in future sessions, we'll start getting into UI design, where we're showing how our data is driving our user experience through wireframing and UI from the top down. And we'll work in iteration with the team as we're working up and down the stack in rapidly developing and deploying our solutions. All right, in these last 3 sessions, we started with very simple beginnings, just 3 tables on day 1 or iteration 1. We went through modifications as we started adding and thinking about fields and making decisions around connectivity. We started to make further modifications within our table, made some changes as we moved from thinking about how we were going to integrate with other systems, which drove changes in attributes or columns within our database. We reported along the way as we were developing our models. And let me just go ahead and hit generate on our latest version and hit view and look at this. So our documentation has progressed. Day by day, as we're going through and we're versioning, we learned how to version and baseline throughout the work effort so that we're able to, at any particular time, compare with previous versions to see what has changed or progressed with our modeling environment. So I hope that these sessions are helping you. I'll continue to build on this demo data. I'll eventually come back around to UI design, but I wanted to introduce model-driven data design so that we could start doing some more connectivity between the various layers within our architecture in further demonstrations that I'm going to be doing. So thanks very much for watching. If you're not already subscribed, please do so. Click the like below. Helps me understand if this content is beneficial to you or not. Leave comments down below. Always appreciate that, good or bad. Look forward to seeing you in the next session. Until then, happy modeling.